This is the review for our first quarter exam. I'm going to read the instructions. Write an equation for each transformation of the graph y equals the absolute value of x. And 24, we have up 4 units and to the right 2 units. So it's going to be to the right. So we know that it's going to be, our vertex is going to be 2, 4. Remember the formula that I gave you? We have y equals, we have a, absolute value, x minus h plus k. And we're going to say that y equals, in this case, a, there was no stretch, so it's just going to be 1. Remember, you have to identify your h. In this case, it's 2. And we have to identify our k, which is 4. So we have absolute value of x minus 2 plus 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to check our work on Desmos. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So we have y equals, and I'm going to clear this, math number absolute value, and then we have x minus 2 plus 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to also draw, I'm also going to sketch the absolute value of x. I'm drawing the parent, I'm going to graph the parent function. So there is a new function, there is a parent function, and it does go 2 units to the right, and then it goes up 4 units, and so there's our graph, okay? We're gonna be doing the same thing again. Our vertex, in this case, our vertex is 5, 2. So our value of h is going to be 5. Our k value is equal to 2. And so there wasn't any stretch, so I'm just going to say y equals the absolute value of x minus 5 plus 2. So let's go ahead and use our graphing calculator to check it. And so I'm going to go ahead and write here x minus 5. And then we have plus 2. So I'm going to graph it. And there's our graph, there's our vertex. It goes 5 units to the right and then 2 units up. On your own graph paper, you're going to go ahead and do 28 and 30. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I expect you to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at the equation here. And I'm going to type in the absolute value of x minus 8. Go to your table. And what I would do is draw enough points so you're able to graph your equation. So we have -7, -1. We have -6, -2, -5, -3, -4, -4, -3, -5. So -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, -6, -2, -5, -3, -4, -4, -3, -5, -2, -6, -1, -7, and then 0, -8, and then it comes back up. So on your graph paper, make sure that you do graph enough points to draw the picture. So we have -2, -6, -1, -7, 0, -8, 1, -7, 2, -6, 3, -5, and then so on. Okay, and that's number 28. Okay, let's go ahead and -6, 1, -4, 1.5, -4, 1.5, -2, 2, -0, 2.5, -2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2.5, 6 or 5, 4, 2.5, we did that, 5, 6 is 2, and 10, six is 2, so that's where 6, 2 is. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the points. And there's our graph. Make sure you do the table. Okay. And 0 is 2.5. 2 is 3. 4 is 2.5. 6 is 2. 8 is 1.5. And then 10 is 1. And so there's my table. So make sure you have the table and also the graph. I'm just verifying that I did graph it. Without graphing, identify the vertex and the axis symmetry of each function. Well, we know that the A is 2, so there's a vertical stretch. So we have y equals 2 times x minus 4, which is the same thing as saying y equals a absolute value of x minus h plus k. So h is 4, k is 0. So the vertex is 4, 0. The axis of symmetry is x equals 4. So we're going to go ahead and use our calculator to see if we can identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry. So I have math, number, absolute value, and we have x minus 4. If you notice, the vertex, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units to the right, it's at 0, and we know that the axis of symmetry is x equal 4. So what you're going to have to do for homework, you're going to have to do problems 25, 27, 29, 31, and 33. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do problems 34, 37, 39, 41. You don't have to do 41 because I didn't teach that. So I'm going to do 34, 37, 39. And you are going to be required to do problems 35, 38, and 40. Okay. So let me go ahead and graph this in Desmos. Negative, and then of course you have the absolute value of x minus 5. And so this is where your graph is. Now if you want to get points on this, I recommend you graph at the same time the equation y equals the absolute value of negative absolute value of x minus 5, and then when you go to your gear, you'll be able to make points that are on this graph. So on graph paper, and if you want to do some more points, you can say you should be able to add more points: 3, 4, 5, 6, and you notice 5, 0 is a vertex, 7, 8. So you want to make as many points as you can to make this graph. Remember, it's a solid line. Oh, it's not solid because remember that it is it's less than, so it's going to be broken. So for number 34, you're going to have to get graph paper and make that table. Let's go ahead and go to the next problem. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in y is greater than or equal to, and you notice it shades up, and we are also going to remove this negative, so I'm going to remove it. And so you notice it's going up. We have x plus 4, and then we have a minus 6. Oh, I see that mistake here. The minus 6 has to be outside the absolute value, minus 6. So here is our graph. You need to have that on your graph paper. And once again, if you want to write the equation so you can get your points, you can always do that. You have x plus 4, right? X plus 4, and then it's minus 6, and so you'll see the points that are on the graph here. You see that? Here are the points, and if you want to do some more negative values, and you start here by replacing these, okay? So when you turn this in, you have to make sure that you show your graph with the shading, okay? Just like the homework assignment. Number 39, we have to do some algebra. And you notice that the y is on the wrong side, but we're going to see how we can do this problem. So you have the absolute value, x minus 2, less than or equal to, and we have y plus 5. I recommend that we go ahead and solve for y. So you subtract 5. So we're going to start with y. Y, and you start reading it from right to left. Y is greater than or equal to absolute value of x minus 2 minus 5. So you can see that the vertex is going to be 2, negative 5, and it's going to shade up. So let's go ahead and look at Desmos so we can verify that. And so I'm going to move this just a little bit to the left. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the inequality again. We have y is greater or equal to, we have x minus 2. So we have x minus 2. And you see how it shifted to the right. And of course it's minus 5. So now if you want it to align with what you just wrote down, you just have to change the equation. Minus 2. And then you have a minus 5, right? And so there it is, the graph. The graph is right there, okay? So on your homework assignment, you have to make sure that you write down the steps so you can solve for y here. And then use Desmos to graph and make sure you have a table so you can plot those points. And since it's equal to, it's going to be a solid line. Once again, your assignment will be 35, 38, and 40. For this part of the review, I'm going to change the directions. I'm going to ask you to solve the systems of equations, and you are responsible for 4, 6, and 8. I'm going to go ahead and do 3, 5, 7, and 9, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it in slope intercept form, and then I'm going to use Desmos to graph. Now, I'm using Desmos to graph, but I want you to write each answer on a graph on graphing paper. So I repeat, you're going to show me the work, and you're going to show me how to write each of them into a slope intercept form, just like we did in our notes. I'm going to use Desmos to graph it. But what I want you to do is I want you to use graphing paper to show me the solution on graphing paper. So this one is already in slope intercept form. This I have to solve for y, so I'm going to subtract 6. I'm going to subtract 6. So I have negative 2y equals negative 6x plus 2. You notice that these are all divisible by 2. So our equation is going to be y equals negative 2 divided by negative 2. So it's going to be 1. Y equals 3x minus 1. And we got to double check that I did it correctly. So the second equation was already in slope intercept form. The first equation, we have 6x minus 2y equal 2. Solve for y to put in slope intercept form. So you subtract 6x from both sides, divide by negative 2, and so you have y equals 3x minus 1, and you have 2 plus 6x equals y. So let me go ahead and minimize this, and we're going to use Desmos to solve this, okay? So let me just move this a little bit in this direction. Oh, let me move this a little bit over here. I'm going to use Desmos here, so I have 2, or let me take this back. Y equals 6x plus 2, and then our second equation was y equals 3x minus 1. So you see the intersection. The intersection is negative 1, negative 4. So let me write that down here. So the answer to number 3 is, and just to make sure I wrote it down correctly, negative 1, negative 4. So the solution is negative 1, negative 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Desmos, and I'm just going to type in I'm going to type in the equations just the way they were written, and then you're going to be able to see the solution right away, okay? So let me find, let me go ahead and type this in. I'm going to type in the equations just the way it was written. So you have 6x minus 2y equals 2. And then the second equation was 2 plus 6x equals y. And it does check. -1, -4. That's what we had. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause it so we can go ahead and do the next one. So the next one we have 6y plus 2x equals 8. And then we have 12y plus 4x equals 4. So I'm going to solve for y, so we subtract 2x from both sides. So we have 6y equals -2x plus 8. Divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. So we have y equals -x over 3. In this case, 8 and 6 is divisible by 2. So you have 4/3. We're going to solve for y here. We have 12y equals 4 minus 4x. Divided by 12, divided by 12, divided by 12. So we have y equals 12 divided by 12 is 1. 4 over 12. Well, we know -4 divided by 12 is -x over 3. And then 4 over 12, 4 is divisible by 4 and 12. So this will be plus 1/3. Now, what do you notice about the two equations? What do we notice about the two equations? Yes, they have the same slope. So what does that mean? That the two lines are parallel and they won't intersect. So let's go ahead and check with Desmos. Let's go ahead and check with Desmos. And since we already know that there isn't a solution, I'm going to check it just by typing in the equations the way it's there. Okay, so and this is a good thing to do, like especially on the test. If you want to check, okay, did I get it right? All you have to do is just write them in there, and you'll get your answer quickly. And it's a testing strategy, and that's what I'm trying to teach you. Another testing strategy so you can be successful on the exam. So you see, the two lines are parallel. And so on your homework assignment, I do expect you to graph these two. If you want to get your tables, well, you can't do it here. You'd have to put it in slope-intercept form, but you can always see the points here, okay? There are times that you will get systems that have decimals. And I'm going to show you how you can deal with these, okay? Make sure that you've written it down correctly. 2 minus 1/4 x. Okay, so we're going to move the decimal places 2 spaces to the right. So we're going to move 2 spaces to the right. So this is actually 200 because we're moving the decimal places 2 spaces to the right, minus 25x equals, and we're moving 2 spaces to the right, so that's 50y. And I'm going to move this up so we can have space. This one I'm going to move it 1 space to the right, 1 space to the right. So this I'm going to move it 1 space to the right, so you have 30. So what you actually have is negative 15y equals 15x minus 30. And that's going to help you to solve for y, because here we just have to divide by 50, right? Divide by 50, divide by 50, And so we're left with y on the right side, y. And we know that 1/4 out of 2 is a half. And we have a minus here, so it's minus a half x. So you have the zeros cancel. 20 divided by 5 is 40. It's 4. Let me fix that. 200 divided by 50 is 4. Here you divide by negative 15, divide by negative 15, divide by negative 15. So you have y equals negative x, and this is plus 2. So our first equation is y equals negative x plus 2. Our second equation is 4 minus 1/2 x equals y. So we got to double check. So that's 25, 50, that's 200. 200 divided by 50 is 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use Desmos here. And I'm going to move this just a little bit, and then, so I'm going to go and take out Desmos. Yeah, I'm going to have to move this a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back and forth. So definitely I know that the first equation is y equals negative x plus 2. And my second equation was 4, or y equals negative 1/2 x. And then what was the y-intercept? That's negative 1/2 x plus 4, right? So let me write plus 4 plus 4. And then we're going to go up here to kind of see where the intersection is. So the intersection is negative 4 is 6. So the answer to this would be negative 4, comma 6. Now, if you want to check it, and I keep on repeating myself because I want you to make sure that you know how to check it without having to do all your work. So this is how you check it. 2 minus 0.25x equals 0.5y. And then you have negative 1.5y, right? Equals 1.5x minus 3. Okay, so we're going to have to double check this. So here is the problem here, 0.50. And that was the answer we had, negative 4.6. Negative 4.6. Okay, so we're going to do the next one, number 9, and you do have a word problem that you're going to be working on. So I'm going to use Desmos to solve the word problem. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here. For $7.52, you purchase 8 pins, right? I'm going to say X. X represents pins, and highlighters represents Y. And I know together we purchase 8. I know that each highlighter is $1.09. So it's $1.09 for each highlighter. And it's 69 cents for each pin, right? And together you paid $7.52. So here we have the equation. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve by graphing. So we're going to say the first one is going to be y equals negative x plus 8. The second one, I'm going to do what we did before. I'm going to move this decimal 2 places to the right. And so I have 69x plus 109y is equal to 752. And I'm going to solve for y, so I'm going to subtract 69x. I'm going to subtract 69x. And so I have 109y equals negative 69x plus 752. Divide by 109. Divide by 109. Divide by 109. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Desmos to graph both equations, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and move it to the side, and I'm going to pull out Desmos. I'll go ahead and write in the first equation. So we have y equals negative 69 divided by 109. And then we're going to move it to the left, the right. X, right? We have x plus 752 divided by 109. Okay. The next equation, we had y equals negative x, right, plus 8. So we had a combination of 3, 5. So we had 3, 5. That means we purchased 3 pins and 5 highlighters. We purchased 3 pins and 5 highlighters. If you want to check, you can just simply type in both equations into Desmos. So let me go ahead and clear this. You have x plus y equals 8. And then we had 0.69x, right? 0.69x plus 109 for the highlighters, right? Equals $7.52. And there is our combination. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you do problems 4, 5, and 6. I went ahead and did 3, 5, 7, and 9. And I do want you to do the whole review, work out these problems with me, and then you do 4, 6, and 8 on your own, okay? I would like for you to do 11 and 13 on your own, and you're going to use the elimination method. The substitution method, I don't think I'm going to get to, but it's not that difficult. But not to confuse you, we're going to use the elimination method. So we're going to do number 10. So we have x minus 2y equals 3. And then we have 3x plus y equals negative 5. And you notice that we can almost eliminate the y's. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply by 2. So you have x minus 2y equals 3. Go ahead and distribute the 2. So 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times y is 2y. And 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then remember, it's also called the addition method. So you have 7x, and that cancels. 3 minus 10 is negative 7. Divide by 7. So x equals negative 1. What you're going to do is you're going to go back to the original equation and substitute. So you have negative 1 minus 2y equals 3. So what you're going to do now is you add 1 to both sides. So you have, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit, you have negative 2y equals 4 divided by negative 2. So y equals negative 2. So what is the answer to the system? Negative 1 comma negative 2. And I do want you to get in the habit of knowing how to check using Desmos. So I'm purposely going to go ahead and show you again how you could just simply look at your answer by, or check your answer by typing it into Desmos. So you have x minus 2y equals 3. And then the second equation was 3x plus y equals what? Negative 5. Okay, so I'm going to maximize this. And where is our answer? Our answer is at negative 1, negative 2. And I think that was where we had our answer. So let me go back to it. We did have it at negative 1, negative 2. You notice that in this problem, we're going to use the elimination method, but it's not written in the correct order. For example, the 11 is on the left side, the 2x is on the right side. We got to swap those. We have to move them around. So it should have been negative 2x minus 5y equals negative 11. You subtract 11 to go to the right. You subtract 2x to the left. Now you see the second equation. You're going to add 9x to go to the left side. You still have the 5y on the left side equals, and that 3 goes to the right, so that's minus 3. Now we can go ahead and add the two equations, and we have 7x equals negative 14. Divide by 7, so x equals negative 2. Negative 2, you're going to go back and you're going to substitute into the original equation. So you have 11 minus 5, y equals 2 times negative 2. So you have 11 minus 5, y equals negative 4. You subtract 11 from both sides, and you have negative 5, y equals negative 15. Divide by negative 5, and you get the value of 3. So what is the answer? Negative 2, 3. Let's go back to Desmos. And we're able to check our answer pretty quickly. Remember, you can just type in the equation the way you see it. So it's 11 minus 5y equals 2x. And then you have 5y plus 3 equals negative 9x. And I think our answer was negative 2, 3. Okay, so what you're going to have to do in this section, you're going to have to do numbers 11 and 13 for a grade. In section 3.1, you have to do 4, 6, and 8. And then in section 2.5, 35, 38, and 40. And then in section 2.4, you're going to go ahead and do 25, 27, 29, 31, and 33.